And we're back.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the microphone working now?
I think it is. Luckily, we don't do this for a living.
Yeah.
We'd be in trouble.
Microphone won't. They're turned on.
You sure they're turned on? It's definitely turned on.
Okay, that's good then, yeah.
First video came out well.
It did.
We had a lot of great feedback.
Yeah, the second one we started about 45 minutes ago, and it's and here we are again.
Here we are again.
Yeah.
Don't worry.
Seriously,
we're fine.
Yeah.
So we're going to focus on the FS story, the Flying Scotsman story.
We are, and maybe some other bits and pieces as well. Just a bit of a state of
We've got some new straps.
New strap designs. A very special brand ambassador.
Yeah,
that's taken one of our watches around the world in a little tiny little boat.
Unbelievable! I still can't believe that.
Yeah. So
and a new addition to the studio.
Yeah, my baby's in the studio now.
You said to me the other day, "Notice anything different about the studio?" And it was like, "Oh, that bit." Yeah, can't wait to talk about that.
She's black and stealthy. Yeah. Maybe we can't.
Can't talk about that.
Can't talk about that. Yeah. Anyway.
So here we are for Scotsman.
Here we are for Scotsman. And I do know you've just told me to stop moving from side to side, sort of jiggling around.
It's okay. It's exciting.
It's the nervous energy going. Yeah. So yeah, Flying Scotsman. What a major project that is for us as a business. Probably a big milestone in some of the stories that we tell and some of the engineering prowess that we put into our watches.
I mean, what was great about this project is they approached us last summer.
Yeah, out of the blue, phone call, floored me, absolutely floored me.
And they also knew everything about us. They'd done a lot of research.
Yeah, it was scary.
Scary.
Somebody actually reads it.
Yeah. Somebody reads
it. Yeah. So to get a phone call from the Science Museum, a place that is sort of, I don't know, ingrained in my DNA really. You know, when I was a kid, I would go there every opportunity. We lived in North London.
Is that the one you've been barred from?
Yeah, several times. Yeah. Taking pieces off of things. Yeah. To try and build into watches. Yeah. So a 30-page contract later and a lot of negotiation, but we now rolled the Scotsman project out.
And they chose us because of, I mean, you know, from what they told us when they came to see us, I mean, we've had several meetings with them, it was just they just loved the design and our passion for British history and our engineering background and the fact that we were very design and story driven, and they knew that we would really cherish this whole story, the 100 years of the Flying Scotsman, which we were asked to commemorate through these timepieces.
They wanted somebody who would give it a good go. There's several. Well, they've got quite a few licensees for the whole project. It was a big project for them.
Yeah, because they've got a beautiful pen company.
Yeah, there's a pen company. There's
Royal Mail.
The Royal Mail did some. They did coins, a set of coins for the Royal Mint, stamps.
Yeah.
There's a children's book. And it was a big project. They had a whole department working on it. Many more people than we had in our business.
Yeah.
So a big thing, really.
But what was beautiful for this project, from my perspective, was I got access to all their photographic archives, all their old vintage posters, tons of video footage. They even had drone footage. I just filled my boots.
Yeah. I can see the excitement.
I know the excitement for you was on a.
Yeah. My excitement was they gave us pieces of boiler tube, which were incredibly difficult to use.
I remember the day it turned up.
Yeah, covered in filth and tens of years of crud all over them. But
but you like a challenge.
It turned out usable. I know some of the other guys that were given some of the material, some of the other projects were unable to use it. So, it's a bit of a feather in our cap that we were able to actually put that material into the back of the watches to complete the story. So,
well, we're fortunate that, with your obviously vast experience in engineering and your contacts, that we had a really good network of people around us that were able to help us bring that to reality.
I mean, the watch
challenge.
Yeah, the watch itself is the culmination of 2 years of work. The latter part was actually building the Scotsman subject into it, but the watch started 2 years ago.
Well, I remember seeing the models because this watch is a 41mm. Our previous models have been 44, and it wasn't as simple as press a couple of buttons and there you go, there's a 41. I know it was a lot of work.
Yeah, and also we're set up for 44mm watches, so all of our stock, there's lots of common parts in them. So when you start a new size watch, we're not one of the big boys, so you have to reinvest
Yeah.
in everything, crystals, seals, you name it. We had to reinvest in bringing that in parallel with the 44s.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's very important to say that the 44mm watch for us is not dead. It's
Probably got a massive fan base for 44.
it's still there,
yeah.
and I think as we roll more watch models out, new subjects, we will potentially run a 44 and a 41,
yeah.
in parallel. Scale the dial down slightly.
Yeah.
There's some common cues in there though. We use 22mm lug width for the straps, so all the straps are interchangeable between the models.
And it's great that we've been able to keep that house style DNA in the 41. When you look at it, even from a distance, you go, that's a Zero West watch, and that was really important to both of us.
Yeah.
We'd worked, you had a long time to get that just right.
Yeah, to give it effectively an iconic shape.
Yeah.
One massive thing for us though is we moved dial manufacturer, so
we'll come on to that in a moment, because that was a big decision, but an easy decision because of where we wanted to go with this watch.
Yeah.
So we flew over to the German-Swiss border for the new dial manufacturer that we'd chosen. Very lucky to find them.
We did. Kids in sweet shops.
We were, and they were gracious with their time. We had a whole factory tour.
I saw some equipment there that blew my mind, to making incredibly small indices, dial finishing, printing processes, second to none.
Yeah,
absolutely second to none. And what it does for us as a business is to open up the scope of what we can offer in a dial.
Yeah,
a dial is not just a dial. Between different manufacturers of them, printed, or you can have applied, or different finishes. But with the two Scotsman watches, that's the first dials we've manufactured with these guys, or developed with these guys. So
because technically both these dials were really challenging, and even for them, that's what we wanted. So
we did have several goes with them, to get them right. So if we start with the black faced watch, which is
the FS2,
So the design concept for the watch was that it was a more dressy watch.
Yeah. But it's very contemporary, isn't it?
Contemporary, but still a tall watch.
Yeah.
We design watches that want to be used every day.
And a good example of that is Simon Cowan, which we'll come on to later on. But
a dress watch that actually did the Golden Globe race. That is actually incredible. For a feat in itself. And to think that the watch followed him round and was a companion is fantastic, and testament to the strength of design.
Yeah.
But this watch itself. So all polished case in the 41mm house style. So there's lots of rollability with this watch. All the facets.
It's beautiful how it catches the light.
Pop,
get that,
and then that feeds in then to develops into this industrial brushed silvered ring with the 4 industrial type screws in there, which they link right back into that hulk of a great big steam locomotive.
Yeah.
Strong, powerful, but linking it together, and then into that really clever design that you put together for based around the clock on platform 8, where at King's Cross. So that's where Scotsman saw every day. And then the applied numerals. So we've got that rollability with the chrome applied numerals and the sweep, and then the contrast back into the hour minute hand.
But what I love about this dial particularly is the subtlety, which is actually the spot varnish that actually frames each of those applied chrome Roman numerals.
Yeah.
And you catch it in certain lights, and in other lights you don't. It's a beautiful subtlety that actually was really hard to do.
Very hard to do, incredibly difficult to photograph that, so that we can actually get that across to prospective buyers. You really need to see the watch to actually appreciate and understand how that works. So there's a contrast between the blacks in there, which give you this frame, which if you actually look on the clock itself, it's got a frame.
It's got that frame,
there. So
it's where the design cue,
design cues, and we've got a nice chrome logo and Zero West in there. So
and it also has latitude and longitude and date code, like all our watches do. And this one references where the Scotsman was rolled out of. So
When Scotsman rolled out the shed, it wasn't called Flying Scotsman. I don't believe it had a name when it came out of the shed, but it was renamed at a show later, a year later. So it came out of the shed with 1472, the number 1472 on it. And then a year later, they renumbered it for some strange reason to 4472,
Right.
which is the number it kept for most of its working life until it then became BR and moved on from there. It had multiple colour schemes, liveries. It's a train follower's dream, really. All the different liveries. It had such a checkered history. In the wartime, it was painted black. Went into service in the war.
Because I knew a bit about this, the train. It's the most famous train in the world prior to the project, but obviously sifting through the amount of history that we were provided, it was just incredible. Went to the States, Australia.
It was impounded in the States. I think they almost lost it, and then it went into private ownership. Various famous people have owned it, tried to restore it, and then ultimately became part of the National Railway Museum's collection. And they spent a huge amount of money actually restoring it and bringing it back to a working locomotive. It probably is the most iconic and well-known locomotive in the world. I know Mallard's close. They're both Gresley locomotives.
An important part of British design and engineering and
really
that whole period, wasn't it?
It was a tool.
Yeah,
It was designed as a tool. It was massively reliable. Huge boiler in it. That was what Gresley was about. He designed locomotives with huge boilers, and it tirelessly did that. London to Edinburgh run daily, hundreds of miles. It broke records. It was the first steam locomotive to break the 100-mile-an-hour record.
And non-stop service from Edinburgh to King's Cross.
Yeah, incredible, absolutely incredible. But just a workhorse, really, and has become a national treasure, really. And as a business, we're just so honoured to be part of that project, be able to keep his name alive like we do in all the other watches that we do.
One of the most exciting parts of this project relates to the back of the watch. But before we talk about that, let's quickly talk about the FS1, which is the second watch in the FS range. I love this watch because a lot of people say, oh, well, I prefer the white dial one or I prefer the black dial one. But this dial is actually silver. It's kind of a white silver. It's actually beautiful. And when you catch it in the light, it has this reflective properties that...
It's actually silver plated.
Right.
So, and it's got incredible texture on the dial itself. And
you can see that through the macro shots. You get this kind of...
You get this slightly rippled, sparked effect on there. But it isn't white. It is actually white silver. And that contrasts nicely with the brushed silver ring that we use, the revolt that we use in both watches with the industrial screws in there. So there's that tie-in, and then you really cleverly effectively took the design cues from the gauges actually on the footplate. We were very lucky to go onto the footplate at King's Cross.
It's a great day.
The beast was steamed, ready to go. Incredibly powerful piece of engineering with such a lot of history. But that dial then encapsulates typically what you would see on the footplate.
And what I love about it is we've applied the numerals. You get this like really nice.
They're black chrome.
Yeah.
So if you've got a white reflective surface above it, they'll actually reflect white chrome or silver chrome. And then when you get it without the reflective surface there, you actually get their black. So there's some subtlety. And there's the hidden loom in this.
Hidden loom. Yeah. That green band is loom.
And we'll show you a loom shot of that. So the hands and the dial are loomed, which gives you that sort of like under the covers.
We all love loom.
Loom.
Yeah. Really cool.
With a red sweep, pretty iconic. So, there's red hints or touches actually on the locomotive as well. The buffer stop on it is red. So, with a black case.
Yeah, it looks
Had to be
really it really
industrial.
frames it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
industrial
yeah,
with
yeah.
and again with the matte silver touches on there. The crowns are the same design on both watches. One's matte and one's chrome, and the design cues came from Leica with that.
Like
Leicas
the
of
cameras.
old, yeah,
Yeah,
Leica cameras of old. So we take lots of
because I
design
remember you did
cues.
a whole mood board on crowns,
I did.
and you did like all these crowns
Li-
from the cameras
Leica,
through the
Leica
80s.
through the years,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Looks super cool.
yeah. Well, let's reveal the back then.
Okay.
Back of the watches. That's the hidden secret in all of our watches, really. There's um, something very personal, very special in the back of the watches that most people wouldn't even know about. But the wearer, if they're into the story and into the history, can actually be wearing a piece of history.
It is one of the most unique parts of our brand, really,
Yeah.
that we're able to do this.
So, so in the back of the Scotsman watch, both the watches have got a similar back on them. But underneath the reverse printed sapphire crystal, we've got this piece of steel boiler tube. It's obviously flat now. It does,
I remember when it turned up.
yeah,
I just
yeah.
had that music to Mission Impossible in the background.
Yeah, it was just a rusty Hulk, really.
It was.
We got 11 pieces of length of boiler tube. Um, uh, Very rare. I mean, there's quite a lot of boiler tube within the locomotive, but it belongs to the National Railway Museum, and they only release it under license. So we were fortunate to, as part of the deal, to get that.
Yeah, and they were really strict with the quantity that we could have, and
Yeah,
made
it very tricky.
Made it very tricky.
Yeah, we couldn't screw up along the
Yeah,
process.
yeah.
So we managed to slit the tube down itself. It's a steel tube, and I'm sure that the grain structure of the material had changed over time with the heating and cooling, the superheated steam that's running in the middle of it, and the fire on the outside. Made it quite an interesting piece of material. So we managed to slit that and literally manually beat it flat, roughly flat, welded it to a plate, and then fly cut the back of that off to machine it off to get it to the right thickness.
About 1.2 mils.
Yeah, 1.2 millimeters thick, there and thereabouts. But we wanted to retain the patina on one side of it, so we media blasted it once it had been released from the machining plate. Media blasted it back with some silica to get that finish. So if you look at the back of it, everyone's unique.
I was going to say each one is different, and what I love about that patina is in the light. Again, you get this kind of,
you get the pits in it.
Yeah.
It still feels like a piece of industrial engineering. And then we sent it away to be lasered, our laser guy, but the 1472. And there's the thing, 1472 is the time that we froze the history of this watch. So the latitude and longitude of the date code are 100 years ago when it actually came out of the shed
at Doncaster.
Shed. Before it was renumbered 4472. Most people know it as 4472. And we had quite a long discussion with the National Railway Museum and the Science Museum guys as to why we wanted to fix it in time at 1472. It's to do with the date code, the location, and the
birth.
The birth number of the locomotive. It's actually set into a turned aluminium disc, so we've got old and new effectively.
Yeah.
We've got high-tech engineering in there, machining, and we've got that piece of raw steel in the back of it.
It makes it, like you say, it makes the watch unique. Every watch is different. There's that history in there that was exceptionally difficult. I mean, I went to see several of the processes firsthand. I was just blown away with how,
there's lots of skill involved in it.
Yeah.
It wasn't just turn the machine on and dial the number in.
Yeah.
It was actually physically take the material, anneal it, slice it, flatten it, weld it to special plates to machine it.
And then we used, what is it, a 20-ton press?
And then a turret press, to actually, effectively knock the discs out of it. So we ended up with a bag of discs. Some good, some were bad.
Yeah.
So we sifted through those, and then they got laser engraved, and then bonded into the back of the watches.
Wow.
So what we end up with is a piece of very special history in this watch.
But that's what we do.
That is what we do.
Yeah, that is what we do. Yeah.
So As I know nothing about sales of watches,
Yeah.
how's Scotsman going?
Well, fantastic. I mean, there's no doubt the locomotive as a theme, well, the Flying Scotsman is a new genre for us because we're notoriously known for land speed and aviation. But it's been fantastic. It's kind of opened up the brand to a new client base. Um, and also, what I never knew was how many of our existing clients or customers were into this genre too. So
I
it's
have
been
noticed a lot of new people, you
yeah,
know,
yeah,
effectively joining the brand,
yeah.
which is great to diversify.
And a lot of the Scotsman watches have gone abroad as well.
Yeah,
So which reinforced the whole, which we were finding out. Well, I was finding out as I was delving into the project deeper, the wider appeal across the globe, and the love and affection and connection to this watch.
yeah.
Um,
Also to the Science Museum and National Railway
yeah,
Museum as well. That's been a great partnership, really, to, to to spread the word for Zero West. It's very important as a small brand
yeah.
that we get out there and credible.
And they've been exceptionally supportive of everything that we've done and wanted to help us wherever they could to, make, because these watches aren't actually sold through the Science Museum or the National Railway. They're only sold through Zero West, and it's been great to be able to get that story out there. And through these two beautiful timepieces, one that represents probably more the locomotive with its dials that tie to the cab, and the gorgeous, if you want to call it, yeah, tall stroke dress watch, which is really contemporary, which is beautiful, which is almost the golden era of travel and steam and that whole kind of Harlequin day. So yeah, it's been a great project to be involved in and
Yeah.
exciting.
It's been very heartening from the business point of view to see the boxes going out daily. So
Yeah,
now
yeah,
we're actually
yeah.
rolling them out.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Straps.
Straps.
Any news on the straps front?
Yeah, I'm still making them. Yeah. We have lots of news on strap front. Yeah, I mean, I've been trying to expand the range out, as you know,
Yeah, yeah,
for a while. Finding the time to do things in the business these days is a challenge.
yeah.
Something we're trying to redress. But yeah, pleased to say that we've actually listened to some of the guys that buy from us regularly, and they're particularly interested in some padded straps.
I get asked that a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So what we've come up with now is, um, in a similar vein, really. More chunky straps, not really thin straps, hand stitched, um, but padded. They've got a padded top section on here, which almost gives like a T shape when you catch them. They work really well with the lugs. Um, and they've got a contrasting lining on the back, so some hypoallergenic leather in the back. Still got the Zero West logo and
yeah,
things in there. Um, but something slightly different. But it has taken quite a while to develop those, and these will retrofit into
yeah.
all of our watches, every watch that we've got. So we've got
Hand stitched.
hand stitched and a
Yeah,
range of colours as well. Some more colours to go into the range.
I love this red
Sort of
cricket ball.
cricket ball red, pretty apt really. So if you're going to
Yeah,
win the Ashes again, um, that's a brown version on a DB2. Slightly thinner keepers on these. Um,
nicely tapered.
and tapered, yeah,
Yeah,
22 to 20 millimeter taper. Again with Zero West uh, buckle, which has got the laser engraved and or etched and filled logo on that. But you can see the shape up into the lug now.
yeah.
It's given it like a bit more of a three-dimensional effect in there. Some people will like that, some people may not. But
It looks great. I put it on one of the pilot watches earlier, and
yeah,
just gives it like when we introduced the rubber straps, just adds another dimension to
yeah,
the.
you get a little bit more, I guess, rollability with it and a bit more form in there.
Yeah,
So coming to a Zero West store near you soon.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. R1.
yeah.
Yeah, green.
Green, Scotsman green.
You know what I'm like with colours.
Yeah,
Yeah.
painful.
Yeah. Sorry. Just great. Really nice. Well, I'm going to get those on the website soon. So excited to bring those. That's a great addition. That's great. Beautiful.
Okay.
And I know we were speaking earlier about Simon Cowan.
Simon Cowan. How understated is Simon Cowan?
I
Has
mean,
anybody heard of Simon Cowan?
well, he lives four doors down, and I hadn't heard of him till he came in
Yeah.
over a year ago. So
Tapped the door a year ago. Would we mind loaning him a watch?
yeah,
And you think, well, lots of people ask us to loan them watches.
yeah, I get
And then
it.
when it started to unfold, oh, I'm about to do the Golden Globe race. I've heard of the Golden Globe race before. Um, to be honest, he didn't look like the sort of bloke that would enter the Golden Globe
No,
race. Really unassuming, really quiet, mild mannered guy. Uh, and as it unfolded, he spent 200 odd days at sea on his own through hell
yeah,
and back. Uh, and amazingly, he wore our watch every day to navigate by.
yeah,
I think the rules of the race were that they had to have the same equipment that they had in the 60s. So there was no GPS, although they had a beacon on the in the vessel. He wasn't able to pinpoint himself. He didn't know who was in the race.
no, didn't know where he
He didn't
was.
know where he was in conjunction
to
with
the others. Yeah,
everybody else. We will blog about this, but this is just a sort of a summary, really, of our dress watch, our longitude one,
it's our
L1,
birth watch.
our birth watch. It was very poignant though because it was about longitude,
Yeah,
and it was about navigation, and it was about seamanship, and he took the watch with a rubber strap on.
yeah,
We were concerned that it would have failed after a few days or something, but it lasted the course, and he couldn't praise it enough. So
incredible testament to our birth watch, a dress watch,
yeah,
and
yeah.
came in and it looked as good as the day
Absolutely.
it left us. It was
Just like it.
and it sailed around the world, went through thick and thin, and yeah, an incredible.
Yeah. We're just
incredible
working on a blog piece for that,
Yeah.
so we'll blog it, and hopefully Simon's going to come in and we can do a video interview with him, and give something back to the local Emsworth sailing community here as well. But suffice to say, super chuffed.
Yeah,
Super
Oh,
chuffed
yeah.
that he didn't go up Everest, he didn't get shot out of a cannon, stuff like that. He just sailed around the world
Yeah.
on his own in a small vessel.
Like you do.
Like you do,
Like
yeah.
you do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like this, dear. I'm just going out for a
Just
few
pop
days,
into the
yeah.
shops. Yeah. And we got some changes happening within the studio. Really exciting.
Yeah, behind the scenes stuff.
Yeah.
That we've been working pretty tirelessly on for quite a time, and I'm particularly excited about this. So we're looking to set up all of the watch build in the studio now. So we've invested in all the equipment. The room's being developed, set up now as we speak. So hoping to by September, and we'll keep you guys posted on this. But by September, we should be building all of our watches actually in the studio.
Yeah, which would be great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It gives us a little bit more control over it,
Yeah.
and it's just all part of being self-contained.
Yeah, and it'd be great for those that visit the studio.
I'm sure we can send some blog. Maybe we'll have a little camera up.
A little
in the corner,
camera, yeah.
See
All
what-
password protected.
See what we're doing at any time of day. Yeah.
Fingerprint control to get out the back.
Yeah.
But yeah,
That's a big development for us
Yeah.
as a small brand, to be able to manufacture our own watches, build our own watches in-house. It's something we've been striving for and had planned right from day
Yeah.
one.
Well, we are control freaks, so it's
Really?
it's
Yeah.
kind of felt a natural progression. Really,
Because of the
towards
territory, I
it.
think.
It
Yeah.
comes with the territory. Yeah, can't wait. And then I came in and I noticed something different in the studio, and
I've changed my shirt.
It was you brushed your hair.
Okay. What hair?
And I was just, we've got loads of artifacts here, cool memorabilia that all relate to the stories of our watches and the brand. When people come in, they're all obviously blown away. It's like a real man cave here. And many people will know from previous videos that we've had some cool cafe races. And then I came in and
We got a new one.
we got a new one.
We've actually developed a Zero West bike.
Yeah, which you've had completely pimped up.
Pimped, developed.
Developed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's based around a Bonneville T120. It's a new bike. It was particularly ugly when it comes out the factory. So I believe it is.
It doesn't look like that now.
So it's had the back removed from it. It's had a new seat put on it, forks, new exhaust system, cap removed from it, etc., etc. And it's now become a zero est bike.
Really cool.
Yeah, something that we maybe had to truck down to Goodwood.
Yeah.
Just looking to see where we could get the James Bonds.
You should get a sidecar for it for me. Be like
Wallace and Gromit.
Yeah.
Wallace and Gromit. So, that's a passion of mine, as you know, motorcycles. And maybe I'll get to do that grand tour at some point if you let me go. Please, Dad.
Can you back by Friday?
Yeah, back by Friday.
You've got another What's the Design?
Yeah. And I'm sure Andrew's going to put a few pictures of that up on Instagram as we go. He just needs to get some graphics for it now.
Yeah, I've got the felt tip fairy bit.
Made into our very own zero waste Batmobile.
Yeah. We didn't get enough people at the windows gawping through it before. We do now. We will now.
The biggest sketch is getting it out of the studio to actually ride it.
Hey, we should get a ramp so you act like Evil Knievel it through the door.
Yeah, right. Straight through the glass.
I don't want to be putting that on Instagram.
Yeah. Cool.
Great. Well, till the next. We're off to the pub.
Pub time now. It's Friday.
It's Friday.
It's gone 12. It's just taken us all morning to do this video.
Early doors.
Yeah.
Early doors.
A 3-minute video takes an hour to do, 2 hours to do, a morning to do.
I couldn't edited it yet.
Yeah. Anyway, till the next time.
Have a good one.
Cheers.